Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach, and I said in the last video that I wasn't going to do this until I could get rocks to compile, and it now compiles. So that's cool. That's a good thing. It did take a little bit of time, but not as much as I thought it would. It seemed like once I got through one thing and then another thing, it just slowly but surely started to just keep accelerating. More things were easier to convert because I had already done what I needed to do from a previous section of code. And so I'd realize, oh, I need this property here or this thing over here. And then I go do that. And yeah, again, took some time, took some rewriting. There was a couple places where, because I had all the symbols in play, I could do things sort of lazily, though I've mostly redone that in the models. I don't keep hold of any of the symbols, but I basically say, unless you hit this condition, which is the only time it would be looked at within the code, then put the value in there or figure out what the value is. And yeah, so took some time basically over the course of a weekend, but I finally got it to compile today. So I am now going to start writing tests, or more to the point, what I'm going to do is write a very simple test and do it just with like an interface with one method, maybe with some parameters. Let's maybe get a little bit adventurous, but do that and see what happens. I'll first run it with the current generator so I can see what all the code is that's generated, and then I'll switch it to the V3 one, see what works, what doesn't. You know, I'm hesitantly optimistic about this. And I'll say this too, and I think I've said this in previous videos, even if this turns out not to be as fast or do the behaviors that I think it should do, I'm still keeping this. I'm going to see this the way through because I feel like it's a much better approach overall. It does feel more natural. I've been able to remove code from certain places. I've been able to, because I'm doing pre-calculations or getting data right when I know that I'm supposed to be doing stuff for a mock. Sometimes that could be reused, and because I'm always just getting that once, I'm not figuring out like what's the fully qualified name. I don't have to keep doing that all the time. I only do that once for a type. And I was thinking this afternoon, maybe I could add in something to say, hey, if you've run into the same type before, just return there's type reference models, and those are basically just referencing types that exist in the system. And so if I've seen a string before, I might as well just use that same string object again. Though it's also a little like, do I really care about doing that? Because I think that's like kind of a micro optimization at best. You don't really know in a given type how many types you're going to run into that are duplicates. That's a big unknown. So that's probably not even worth spending time investigating. That was just kind of a cool thought that I had. So we're going to create at least one test. Either that's going to lead to bugs, which I would not be surprised about, or it's going to work. And then I'm going to start updating all the current tests that are there, see what fails. And once I get through all of the tests in here that are referencing rock create generator, then then I have a choice to say, well, do I now make sure that this one is disabled, doesn't exist, and is now being, how do I want to say this? And it is now switched over to V3. And then I include the integrated tests and do some other tests that I've talked about before. The thing is that a lot of the stuff in here, especially the extensions, they're still being used. A lot of that didn't go away because I use all that when I create the models. So that stuff still exists. But it's really the generator test. That's what I need to make sure is correct. So first things first, I actually don't have I have a rock create generator test here. Rocker. But that's I think mostly testing conditions that you should see, like, hey, is there an error? I think there is one in here that's like, this is actually going to do something that you think is correct. So not really what I want. And how would I classify this? There's like class constructor test. I could have interface tests in here. I don't actually really even have that. There's no, I have record tests. So I don't know. Let's just create a interface generator tests. Admittedly, the tests here in the generators are kind of scattershot in that they are a little bit all over the place. There's no necessarily rhyme or reason with them other than, oh, I screwed up. I made an issue with something, so I need to do it here rather than the integrated test. Because if you've seen past videos, if I screw up the code generation, it makes the integrated tests all messed up, and then it gets really hard to figure out what's going wrong. So I'm going to say public static void. Is this void? No, it's okay. It's async. Async task generate with one generate with method. Sure, async. Okay, so then this is a test that works. So we're going to say something like this. Whoops, that. And we're going to say public interface. I target. I don't care. We don't care. And let's make a return a string. Retrieve. And let's put in an int. Doesn't matter. And then we say raw create this. And then we're going to have our generated code, which right now we're just going to say is an empty string. And then we'll see what the create generator does. Okay. So we have code in here. We're going to actually end up having this be a target. And let's run this and see what the code is generated. This shouldn't be anything controversial. It should fail, but it's just because an empty string doesn't match. Okay, only took 14 seconds. Oh, it's in my office here. It's weird. It gets really, in the summer, it gets colder down here. Then I think in the winter it actually gets warmer. I don't know if it's because I'm in the lower level of my house. I'm right across from our laundry room that has the intake. The AC is right outside there, and then that's where all the air starts circulating through the house. I don't know. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's nice out today. Actually, pretty warm in Minnesota, and yet I'm kind of freezing downstairs. So let's just remove all the pluses. I always get confused because place all. Like what you do in Visual Studio to replace and here to replace. It's not always the same thing. Okay, so let's grab all that. Let's put that in our raw string literal. Actually, I'm wondering if because I've always had this problem with raw string literals in that it will not put in all the space like the way I expect it to. So if I do this, and then I do, that's interesting because they should be tabs. And I didn't change that with the original generator. I put in a change where I don't use like what somebody has configured, whether it's tabs or spaces. I just say use a tab. It's generated code. You shouldn't care about that. Yeah, like all these should be tabbed, not spaced. So why did it do that? I wonder if it's a VS Code thing that it's like it automatically will put in spaces. I don't know. Let's see, view tabs. If I do this now. Nope, it still did spaces. Yeah. Indent using tabs. Figure tab size. I don't understand. Like if I do that, but not that. That kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. What? And I also don't know why. Like this is off. Yeah. That was weird too. Huh. Not that it matters much. I didn't want to have to do this stupid dance where I've got to indent everything myself. And I don't remember. Do you actually? I don't remember. Sorry. I'll cut this, and when I'm done, we'll move on. Okay, yay! It all works now. I really gotta spend some time figuring out why it did what it did, because that just is such a pain in the butt to get this to work. Anyway, yay, we got this test. Now, let's try it with V3 and let's see what happens. What's your bet? Place your bets. I'm always pessimistic. I don't think this is going to work the first time, but you're never going to know unless you try. So here goes this next step. Yeah, it failed. For all I know, it's like a null reference exception somewhere. You know, who knows? Well, generated code. Whoa. Okay, actually, it did generate code. Oh, that's interesting. Default member attribute. Yeah. Yeah. Why would that have a default member attribute on it of system reflection? There is one thing I've done where I get like the attributes description and I get the attributes, and this might be getting more than what it should. I don't know. But this one is just giving this, which it should. I don't know why it's putting that second one there. And then was there anything else? I thought there was like a space issue that showed up somewhere down here. Did it? No, it's just that one thing. It just put in one extra attribute. Okay, well, let's start digging. So if I come over here, and it would be in the builders, in the create, and this is returning a string. So it would be mock method value builder. And where are attributes? Yeah, those are the return type attributes. That's it, right? Those are the parameters. This is the only one. And fortunately, there's only one method in this. So if we need to go to actual method generation, like why did it? We could do that too here. We could go to the models and go to the method model. And we are going to get this here as well because we need to get the return type. So let's come back over here. And are we in? No, I need to be in debug. No, I just ran the test. No. Run the test under the debugger. Oh yeah, because something's already running. Here we go. Okay, get rid of this and get rid of this. Okay, let's do the. It's like that passed, but it just failed. What the heck? Okay, there we go. Now let's see what's going on here. Or not. Okay, so return type is a string as expected. And if I say here method return type get attributes, which is an extension method I made, there's 3. And then I say get description from the compilation. There it is. But why doesn't it happen when I do the mock method value builder? So let's go to that one and let's look at the return. Lots of returning in here. It should kind of follow one after another. Those are the attributes and then those are return. Oh, that's why. Oof. When do I call this? Yeah, there's a couple places I call it. This is the value of testing, my friends. Okay. So this is the actual, if we ever call get namespaces, it does that, but I don't really care about that right now. It's in the value builders. There's two spots where it happens, apparently, in the value builder. Oh, this is the make, which we haven't touched yet, and this is the create. Okay. So this will be fun because the method model is just saying this is a return type, but a type reference model doesn't understand if it's a return type or if it's not. And apparently this is one case where it matters. So there may be more and I just may have missed them, but yeah, there's something that we must be doing when we call get return type attributes. Oh, that's just, oh. So then why does that show up with the, why did that show up when I said get attributes? Is it because on a string there's, this is more of a curiosity than anything right now. A source.net. If I say string, I go to the class. Well, yeah, that's not the right one. This is the right one. Of course, this, let's try this one. It's type forwarded to. I'm just wondering where that showed up from. String core CLR? No. Comparisons? No. Manipulation. I feel manipulated. No. Searching. No. Where? Well, it's got to be coming from somewhere. And that if it thought that there was this odd, and this is on a method. This is not on a return type attributes. Oh boy. This is a little bit of a, well, no, okay. I'm thinking about this more. On the method model, we need this dot return type attributes. Method get return type attributes, get description, get, what? No, stop it. Get description off of the compilation, right? And now we'll call this description and we'll do the right thing. Put that there, say internal. And now when we come to the value builder, we're going to say here, attributes. What did we call? Return type attributes description. Because it has to be on the method, not the type itself. The type itself is a string, and when we were doing that, we were getting the attributes of a string. That's why I'm kind of curious if, like, again, where is this coming from? If I say SharpLab and I say, oh, yeah, you gotta, okay, never mind. Okay. So let's say var string attributes, and I'm just type of string. No, just get custom attributes. And I don't really care. And a string only inherits from an object. So let's just do this. For each our string attributes and string attributes. No, string attribute and string attributes. Yeah, that's great that you're showing me that and visualizing it, but that's not what I want to see. Like, you're not helping. How do I actually see this? You know what I mean? String attribute. Serializable, nullable, default member. There you go. So it's one of those. It's actually on the string. Okay, so that makes sense as to where it's coming from. Okay, so now, here's the test. Let's run it now and see what happens. You see this smile on my face? It's because it passed. This is our first passing test generating code with the new engine. And I'm very happy. I mean, the fact that it was really only one thing and it was just a simple I missed it step was highly encouraging. Now, let me just make sure. Where was this being called? This was in, oh yeah, in the make one. So when we get to the make, I'll just have to remember to not miss that. But that is so highly encouraging that we get our first test. In fact, let me put that commit in there right now. The first test using the new engine passes. There's a lot more to come, but that is a big first step. So at time, I'm going to stop here. I'm probably going to do what I did before, which is I've got a lot of tests now to go through and find out things like what I just did, where there's a mistake with I didn't do this quite correctly, or I missed this. And so like this allow null generators test, what happens when I come down here and I switch this to V3 and then this one switch to V3 and so on. I'm just going to have to keep plowing through all these until I get all these to pass. And that would be mind numbing. I'm not going to torture you all with that. I just wanted to get one test to pass when I was doing a recording. So really good step. The next episode that I do is when I have all my tests passing, and I also have the integration test passing. I'm not going to bore you with that either because there could be things in there that I miss. I'm going to have to do testing. So there's a fair amount of background work in getting to the next step. The next step will be doing the code generator tests, and that one I will do as a recording. Once that's done, then I think the last thing I want to do is actually testing to see if the caching and everything works, to do some benchmarking between the current generator and the newer generator, and to see what happens and to run those in comparison. That will be interesting as well. So a lot more work, but this was a very big, satisfying step. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.